My friends are my power. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
What is going on, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and nerds everywhere? Welcome back to NerdSplosion, the weekly podcast for a month. You know what? You know what? You know who we are. You know what we do. So how's it going, guys, gals, non-binary pals? As always, I'm Cameron.
And I'm a fucking menace to society.
I mean, no one's arguing with you on that. Today, we are continuing this little weird Reddit month in January by going through some more Reddit, and we got a few stories today from r/Today I Fucked Up. You can probably guess by the title what that entails. But before we get into that, new episode of this podcast come out every Saturday, so make sure you do all the things on all the stuff. But with that being said, let's get into Today I Fucked Up. So here is our first story. Today I fucked up by consuming an entire bag of Walmart corn and discovering my body's impressive talent for food preservation. I was digging around in the back of my freezer looking for some chicken nuggets or something when I discovered a bag of Walmart corn that had been chilling there since God knows when. The bag was a bit frosty and the price tag...
Since God knows when.
The bag was a bit frosty and the price tag had faded to the point where it was just a white rectangle. But corn doesn't go bad when frozen, right? Anyway, instead of doing the reasonable thing and portioning it out like a normal human being, my genius self decided, well, it's just corn, and dumped the entire 32-ounce bag into a bowl. Added some butter, a bit of salt, and went to town while watching some Netflix. It wasn't until I was scraping the bottom of the bowl that I realized I had just consumed 2 entire pounds of raw corn. Fast forward to 3 a.m., and my stomach is making noises that I can only describe as what you would hear if you put a rubber duck in a blender. The bloating was so bad, I looked 6 months pregnant. But the real fun began this morning. Opie clarifies that they're a dude. Without going into graphic detail, let's just say I learned that my digestive system is remarkably inefficient at processing large quantities of corn. Also learned that corn maintains its structural integrity through pretty much anything. It's like my body just decided to vacuum seal each kernel for preservation. I've now spent roughly 40 minutes total in the bathroom, questioning my life choices and wondering if I'm secretly part corn now. Too long didn't read, found ancient frozen corn in my freezer, ate the entire bag in one sitting, discovered my digestive system doubles as a corn preservation facility, and gained a new appreciation for serving size recommendations. Edit, to all the people asking, no, I did not eat it uncooked. This post was written at like 4 a.m, and I forgot to mention that I microwaved it.
Okay, that was going to be my first thought. I was like, who eats frozen corn? First of all.
I like this comment that I just found down here. LMAO, dude, you just inhaled a day's worth of fiber, so that would explain your digestive issue. Also, your body isn't not breaking down the corn. It's just the outer shell of the kernels that doesn't get broken down, and then as it moves through your digestive system, it gets filled with, well, poop. Stay hydrated and eat light for the next day or two, and you'll be fine, LOL. God, I can't imagine just going through an entire bag of corn.
I have corn. Corn is all I have.
See, it's weird. Corn is one of those things that, like, I'm not going to go out of my way to consume.
Oh, I love corn.
Like, I like corn and I'll eat it with stuff, but it's not like one of those things I'm going to go out of my way to be like, oh, sweet, corn.
There are a few meals where I'm like...
Unless it's popped.
There are a few meals where I'm like, I have to have a sweet corn on the cob with this.
Ooh, here's a question. Which way do you prefer your corn? Individual kernels that you have to scoop up with a spoon, or on the cob?
So I like both because I'm a slut for a good corn. But I think if I had to, like, firearm to my head, if I had to pick, I think I would go with a corn cob.
There's just something about a corn cob that's, like, satisfying to eat.
Especially the corn cobs that your parents get in the summer.
Oh yeah, those are good.
So good.
I think they get those from their local little market thing.
Support local. And then I adopted my grandpa's way because you can't have a corn cob without butter. That's just, I'm
butter,
pretty sure
salt,
that's a
pepper.
cardinal sin. But you butter a piece of bread and then you just wrap it around the corn.
I have never actually done that, and that actually sounds like a really smart way to do that.
Genius. Thank you. Shout out Grandpa Jim.
It seems a lot better than just taking a knife and trying to like spread it out over. I'm like, yeah, I gotta try that because that actually sounds like a really smart idea.
Well, I did it once at your parents' house, and your dad looked at me like I had grown a second head.
Well, to be fair, he looks at a lot of people like that.
That's true. It's kind of his resting face.
Alrighty. Next story. Today I fucked up by using freezer paper to wrap chicken. My apartment was transformed into Satan's own meat locker.
Okay.
I waited my whole life to post a fuck up worthy of this sub, and now all I feel is deep, unrelenting regret. The kind of regret that wakes you up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat. Let's begin. I'm a sophomore in college, living off campus, in an apartment that, frankly, has seen better days. There's no grocery store on campus, so I bulk ordered food and I have it delivered. Before I left for winter break, I had 6 pristine chicken breasts, lovingly wrapped in freezer paper, stashed in my freezer. I figured I'd come back and whip up a home-cooked meal and treat myself before the new semester. Nope. That dream died a rancid, smelly death. I got back yesterday, unlocked the door, and immediately caught a whiff of something off. It wasn't a strong smell, more like a cry for help. My first thought, rat corpse. Maybe one got in, decided my apartment was the perfect place to die, and now it was rotting in a wall somewhere. But I figured I'd deal with it after unpacking my cooler of frozen meals from home because priorities, right? So I stroll over to the freezer, still blissfully ignorant, open the door, and bam! The smell sucker punched me like Mike Tyson in his prime. It was the most violent, god-awful stench I have ever encountered, as if Jeffrey Dahmer himself had sublet the apartment over break and decided to get creative in my freezer. I peer inside, and to my absolute horror, I see my beautiful chicken breasts, soggy freezer paper, and an inch-thick layer of frozen chicken juice cemented to the bottom of the freezer. My brain clicked into detective mode immediately. The power had gone out while I was gone. The chicken thawed, rotted, and then refroze. God himself could not have created a more sinister punishment for my sins. The smell hit me again. I swear to God, it was the whole circus of ungodly stenches. Garbage on a hot day, gym socks left in a high school locker for months, spoiled milk, and the kind of bathroom situation you only encounter at a highway rest stop. It was the smell of death. Desperate times call for desperate measures. You get what I'm trying to say there. I decided God damn it, I can't talk today. I decided the fridge had to be quarantined. I dragged the entire fridge into the bathroom and slammed the door shut while I was locking it, like I was locking a demon in there. Then, because I'm a fool who believes in hope, I left the freezer door open to air it out overnight.
Oh, God.
As if that would somehow cancel out the ungodly stench. Spoiler alert, it didn't.
That's just gonna make your whole place smell like rotten chicken, bro.
The next morning, the smell was worse. How? It defied logic, science, and possibly religion. Determined to fix this, I geared up for battle, mask over my face, socks stuffed in between the layers, and a glob of shaving cream smeared under my nostrils for good measure. I cracked the bathroom door open, and wham! The smell hit me like a freight train of despair. I immediately started dry heaving so hard I thought my intestines were going to eject themselves. Enter my roommate. He opened his bedroom door at the exact moment, took one breath, and unleashed, "Oh, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, oh my God, that's fucking fish!"
That is the only appropriate reaction to a smell that rancid.
Exactly. Then he turned around and slammed his door like he was escaping a war zone. Not helpful, bro. Not helpful. I went back in.
You know what that roommate said? That's an issue, not an ish me.
I went back in, this time armed with a chip clip over my nose and gloves on my hands. Chicken juice was dripping everywhere as I removed the freezer's contents like it was diffusing a bomb. It got on my gloves, my shirt, my dignity. I struggled like my life depended on it, attacking that freezer with every cleaning product I could find. bleach, vinegar, baking soda, Clorox, Lysol, even a half-empty bottle of hand sanitizer I found. I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed like I was trying to erase my student debt. After 2 hours of labor, I finally stepped back, panting and defeated. The smell was better, but it still lingered. The bathroom, completely unsalvageable. The smell had seeped into the walls. I Febrezed, I burned candles. I even broke out some incense I'd bought on a whim at a hippie festival freshman year. None of it worked. The smell just mingled with everything, turning into some unholy hybrid of vanilla bean rot and lavender poultry despair. That goddamned raw poultry rot was sucked up by the room, and I don't think it'll ever go away.
No, it won't. You're stuck with that forever.
And as for the fridge, it's in the county dump where it fucking belongs. Although, if the army is ever in need of a chemical weapon, they know where to look. So yeah, if you ever think, hey, I'll leave some frozen meat in the freezer while I'm away, think again. Think of me. Think of my roommates. And think of that fucking stench that can never be eradicated. Too long didn't read. Frozen chicken wrapped in freezer paper thawed during a power outage, rotted and refroze, created the most dastardly stench known to mankind that I am still struggling to rid my apartment of.
Your first mistake, OP, aside from the whole situation, was not immediately throwing out the chicken and scrubbing the fridge and just leaving it in the bathroom unplugged to fester and get worse all night.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, if a power outage happened while they're away, like, that's nothing they can help. Like, the chicken was already screwed at that point.
Right.
But leaving it in the bathroom in the hopes that it would air out, yeah, no way that was going to work out. I'd say good luck when OP eventually moves out, good luck selling that apartment.
No kidding.
OP did add in an edit, I didn't do the best job explaining this, so for clarity, when I returned, the chicken juice was frozen to the bottom of the freezer, along with some of the chicken breasts wrapped in freezer paper, so I could not even begin to clean up what smelled before I let it thaw. However, why I left the door open for this was beyond me. I thought that the freezer would take too long to cool down if the door was kept shut. That was a tragic miscalculation, however. As for the title, I used to use Ziploc bags to freeze chicken breasts. If I continued doing this, most of the mess would have been contained. However, I began using freezer paper to reduce plastic use, which is where the title comes from. So they did use Ziploc bags at one point, but they just stopped. Because they wanted to cut down on plastic use. I'm like, well,
I get it.
Maybe in this situation, maybe you can sacrifice some plastic use.
Or get like reusable dishwasher safe plastic bags. We have some of those.
Like I get wanting to cut down on plastic, but like sometimes you need to use a little plastic. But sometimes it's your best option, so you don't have situations like this. I wanted to add, there's somebody in the comments, Starlet, who added their own story, or their own related story. I worked in the office of an appliance store that also did repairs for a while. We had a customer with a KitchenAid freezer full of meat and salmon that died while they were on a 2-week vacation. The smell was as awful as you would imagine. The customer had purchased an extended warranty, so we set them up with a loaner freezer and hauled it into the warehouse. It was clear that while the part that had caused the freezer to fail was repairable, the liner would never not smell like fishy rotten death, no matter how much it was cleaned. If the fridge was deemed unrepairable, the warranty would cover a new unit for the customer. However, our shop tech was very literal, so we had to spell it out for him. So Dave, it sounds like this freezer is unrepairable. No, it could be repaired, it just needs this part. Dave, I need you to open the freezer and take a deep whiff. If it was running again, would you use this freezer? No. So are you saying it's unrepairable? It's unrepairable. Thank you. Please document that.
Thank you. Please document that.
That just reminds me of, what was it? It had to be a couple weeks ago now at this point. It was shortly after New Year's or Christmas or something, I think, I want to say. Somebody just dumped a freezer on the side of the road at work. So we had to get rid of it. And luckily there wasn't like old meat in there or whatever, but there was beer and like some Monster that was in there.
Yeah.
And it's like old beer is still pretty bad. Like that's still a pretty bad smell.
Well, yeah, but
like
at least
old
it's
ass
cold enough now
beer
that
smell.
it's not like melty and shit.
Yeah, it's like one of those, like the old beer smell is one of those where you're just like, ugh. But like the rotten meat smell is one of those you're just like, ah.
Or like that one day I came home and we got into a huge fight because the freezer door didn't get closed and all our brand new groceries thawed.
Yep.
Oh, you were mad?
Well, yeah, because the door was left open all day and I had to throw out pretty much everything.
Yeah.
All right, the last story, and this is only our third one because this one is a bit of a doozy. So the one I saved is an update to the original story, so I'm going to read the original story and then I'll get to the update.
Okay.
Today I fucked up when I convinced my parents to do an intervention.
Oh, no.
Now, this was posted 2 years ago.
Okay.
What I'm about to share happened more than a month ago, and at the time, there was nothing funny about it. Now, it cracks me up and makes me cringe whenever I think about it. I, 18 male, still live with my parents, and Christianity plays a big role in my family. We're off to a great start with this one. I'm not sure if I believe what they believe, but one thing was certain. My brother, 25, believed there was only one God: drugs. At some point in his life, getting high was no longer about having fun, it was about feeding an addiction. When he started stealing from my family to support his drug habit, that's when my dad called the cops and had him arrested. My dad's plan was not to send my brother to prison, he was just buying time to come up with another solution. He called a family meeting and we brainstormed. Besides praying and hoping that a higher power magically makes my brother stop using drugs, rehab was the next best thing.
It won't.
My dad wanted to literally drag my brother to the nearest rehab center and force him to check in. I suggested that we try an intervention just like the ones on TV, where the loved ones confronted the drug addict with letters they wrote to show how much they care and hopefully inspire the addict to seek professional help. My family agreed to do the intervention based on my passionate pitch. We wrote our letters and waited until my brother got released from jail the following day. When my brother entered the house, the living room was occupied by family members, church members, a few of my brother's friends, and one of his ex-girlfriends. I never expected my parents to basically invite the whole town, but there they all were. My mom explained to my brother what was happening before volunteering to be the first person to read a letter. My brother was not about that life. He told my mom to stop reading and allow him to go upstairs, or he was going to get upset and say some shit he can't take back. My mom kept reading, which prompted my brother to roast the shit out of all of us. He made fun of my mom for being addicted to Botox and always running on the treadmill with her arms straight down. He asked my dad what God thinks about him paying for porn. He accused me of sucking another guy's dick and literally pointed to the person who owned that dick. Quote, he was right. He advised my uncle to lose 200 pounds before trying to save anyone else's life. He said his ex-girlfriend's belly button looked like a butthole, which was the real reason he broke up with her. It went on until an argument broke out between my brother and everyone else. If my brother was not the tallest person in the room, my guess is someone would have punched him in the face long ago. Luckily, it didn't go that far. My brother eventually went upstairs and didn't come down until there was no one left but my parents and I. It was awkward between all of us. My dad and I were unable to look at each other for the rest of that week, and what made it even worse was the fact that neither of us denied what my brother said about us. It was never mentioned again. Since then, my brother agreed to go to rehab, or go for rehab. He's been clean for 22 days, and it seems like he's doing better. My mom stopped using the treadmill and is now running in the park early in the mornings, which none of us are awake to see if she's actually moving her arms or not. It's still unclear if my dad watches porn, let alone pays for it. I'm dating a girl, and she knows I've sucked dick. I can't provide updates for the rest of the people my brother insulted. I think they've all done with the drama. They're all done with the drama in my family because I don't see much of them anymore. LOL. So, what do we think?
My gasters have been flabbered. I love the idea that they're like, let's do this intervention, and the brother was like, oh, we're gonna make this a Comedy Central roast. Just like,
well, yeah, they're all there like, we want to talk to you about your drug addiction, and he came in like, yo mama.
He said, you're fat, you run weird, your belly button looks like a butthole, you've sucked dick.
Fuck you, you're a tool, and fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah. It just reminds me of that scene in Friends where Monica's like, fine, judge all you want, but threw a girl's wooden leg at the fire, left a guy at the altar, married a lesbian, left a guy at the altar, threw a woman's wooden leg in the fire, fell in love with a gay ice dancer, live in a box.
All right. Now the update, which was posted 4 days ago. So we went from a post 2 years ago to 4 days ago.
Okay, I'm here. I'm ready for it.
A couple of years ago, I shared a post about my family ambushing my brother with an intervention and hoping that he would hear us all out and go to rehab to treat his drug problem. However, my brother used the intervention to roast everyone he made eye contact with, including me. I got roasted for sucking another guy's dick in front of my family, who had no idea I was attracted to guys. Now, I think when they phrase that, they mean him having sucked it before instead of not literally in front of his family.
Yeah.
Since then, my brother has been clean and living with my parents. I moved out, but I visited my parents a few days ago to introduce them to my girlfriend. For the record, my parents pretended that the intervention never happened, meaning that everything my brother said about us that day never took place.
Sure.
I automatically followed their lead and continued to be straight for the most part, while low-key being bi on the side, because not being open about uncomfortable things was something I sadly inherited from my mom and dad. I informed my brother that my girlfriend had no idea that I liked girls and guys, but I was planning to tell her when I was ready. So I would appreciate it if he didn't go there when the two of us naturally do our big brother, little brother banter thing.
Sure.
My brother said I had nothing to worry about. Those were his words to me when we were messaging each other. As soon as my girlfriend and I showed up at the house to meet my family, my brother was in the middle of an intense argument with my parents in the living room. Shocker. I didn't know what they were arguing about, but I repeatedly said hello until my family eventually noticed me standing behind them with my girlfriend. My mom and dad instantly went from being upset at my brother to being warm and welcoming towards me and my girlfriend. When my parents literally turned their back towards my brother to greet me, he did a slow clap and congratulated my parents for never failing to drop everything every time their favorite son comes home to suck the dick of his big brother's best friend. My brother walked out when he said that and left me standing there next to my girlfriend, who was now looking at me like, what the fuck? I had no choice but to have a talk with my girlfriend afterwards and confess that I did indeed suck a few dicks in the past. He just sits his girlfriend down and be like, babe, I have to tell you, I did indeed gargle some hards in my day.
I do, in fact, have that Glock 9000.
Back in my day, I did a little...
Okay, well, if that's what it sounds like, you're doing it wrong.
Oh.
I've polished a knob or two back in my day. I can just imagine that poor girlfriend being like...
I polished a note or two.
I just imagine this poor girlfriend being like, "What did I get myself into?"
Just like, what am I doing here? Oh God, where am I?
Like, also on the subject of sexuality, do whatever and whoever you want, as long as it's legal and consensual.
Yes. I did my best to explain to her that I've only had serious relationships with girls, whereas with guys, it was never anything more than fun. My girlfriend wanted me to show her my brother's best friend so that she could see what type of guy I liked. I ended up showing her a random photo of him on my brother's Instagram. She asked a lot of uncomfortable questions after looking at the photo. Like, who was the top and who was the bottom? Who was more attractive between him and her, etc. Needless to say, I had to proceed with caution every time I opened my mouth. Thanks, big bro. Too long didn't read. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time when I decided to introduce my girlfriend to my family because my parents were busy arguing with my brother, who used his anger to reveal that I sucked his best friend's dick, which is now the second time my brother has outed me in front of an audience. My girlfriend had no idea I was bi until this happened, leaving me with a lot of explaining to do. Sony in the comments was like, quoted the I got roasted for sucking another guy's dick in front of my family. And they added, the phrasing here is incredible.
The phrasing here is incredible. Yeah,
somebody replied, I'm living on OP's behalf. After all the dicks I sucked in front of my family, they never once roasted me for it. Not once.
They never once roasted me for it.
But if I could play psychiatrist for a second, obviously this brother has a history of when somebody confronts them about their problems, like when somebody's calling them out on their problems, their first reaction is to lash out.
Right.
Because a lot of people, and then that's what a lot of people do, like when you present them like, hey, you're being an asshole, or are you doing this? And they're like, well, you did this and you did this. Like their immediate reaction is to call out people on like their stuff, like, well, you did this. And like, yeah, you know, if somebody else did something bad, you know, call them out too, but like don't use that. Like don't use it against somebody else.
Right.
Don't ignore other problems. You know? You get what I'm trying to say?
I have a hot take that's probably completely unfounded, but since it's the second time he brought it up, maybe the brother is secretly in love with the best friend and a little upsetty spaghetti that his brother got a piece of that.
Or maybe he's just an asshole.
I mean, it's probably that, but
definitely jealous that his brother got a piece of that. A specific piece, if I should say so.
He's just mad that his bestie's laying some pipe on anybody but him. Just throwing it out there.
He just has a heart-to-heart, and his brother's just like, I was only mad at you because I wanted to suck his dick.
Right? But that's my hot take. I think that the brother, aside from having a drug dependency disorder, he thinks he has the hots for his buddy.
Either that or the brother's just an asshole.
I mean, it's probably that he's just an asshole, but
I don't know. I kind of, like, I wish the best for the brother. I wish, you know, a good recovery, but
it
also...
sounds like he managed to stay sober for those 2 years, so that's good.
Yeah. And I know addiction is like a really hard thing to deal with. A lot of people go in and out of it. Like, I've literally... This is not related to anything like that happened in the story, but I was just watching a video recently with this guy who he does a lot of wrestling content. He interviews wrestlers and stuff.
Yeah.
And he recently interviewed Jeff Hardy, who has had a history with addiction problems.
Yeah.
And he's been sober for quite a few years now. I want to say at least 4 or 5.
I mean, I've been sober for 3 years now, and sobriety is not easy.
Well, yeah, but you weren't on the level that Jeff Hardy was. Like, it was bad.
I couldn't afford to be on the level of drug addicted that Jeff Hardy was. And my problem was always booze, not drugs. But sobriety it's even if it's a month sober or even if it's a week sober, it's something to be proud of. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, because, you know, it was brought up and Jeff said that he's been feeling a lot better, and he said that he's proud of himself for, you know, getting this far in his sobriety. And also, like, the question was brought up, like, you know, with all your problems, like, who do you feel like you let down the most?
Right.
And he said, well, pretty much everyone.
Right.
And so he did that, and he also kind of apologized too. And I'm like, that hit me. That kind of hit me, because growing up, Jeff Hardy was one of my favorite wrestlers, and he's still one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because I've always wanted nothing but the best for him. But to hear him be like, you know, genuinely sorry for what he's done, and I'm like, well, because I'm always in the camp of, like, you know, don't just be sorry, be better. And it seems like he's doing...
say sorry, show it.
Yeah, and it seems like he's doing a good job at both.
Yeah.
He's both being sorry and being better, which I'm really happy to see. So, anyway, related to the story, I hope Opie's brother, you know, continues his road to recovery, but also, you know, stop calling out people on their stuff. Stop being an asshole to everyone.
Yeah, let people suck dick if they want to.
But with that, I think we're going to conclude this episode. What was your favorite story?
Definitely the last one.
Definitely the last one.
The chicken one stressed me out. I can't. The smell of rotten chicken makes me actually want to commit violent crimes.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't imagine having to deal with that. I would have burned the house down, to be completely honest with you. So
yeah, yuck. I do not.
That's a smell that, when I say it lingers, that shit gets into everything. That, like, intertwines itself in your carpet fibers. There's no getting rid of that.
Good luck getting all that out.
It's gross.
I would definitely say the last one was probably my favorite too. The other one being the chicken one.
The corn one was just semi-amusing.
Alright, well, now begins the hunt for the next subreddit we're going to do in the next episode. I believe... I don't know how many days are left in this month. My internal schedule's all screwed up.
There are 16 days left in this month.
Well, as for, like, Saturdays is what I meant. We got amount of Saturdays left.
Hold on, we can answer this. We have the technology.
Alright, well, while you do that, I'm going to close out this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys...
I was right, there's 2 more Saturdays.
Hope you guys are drinking plenty of water. Stay positive out there, especially with everything going on in the world right now. You know, just hang on to what you can. Be safe out there. I've been Cameron.
I've been here.
And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Nerds out. Look out.